Hey everybody, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. Now, if you may recall, 2018 was not only the year of superhero films, but it was also the year of dog films. And during that year, I've looked at several different dog movies like All Dogs Go to Heaven, Sergeant Stubby, An American Hero, Isle of Dogs, Bolt, 101 Dalmatians, Hotel for Dogs, Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School, Frankenweenie, and our subject for today, Lady and the Tramp. Now, with my dad and my goddaughter's birthdays coming up this Saturday, it's no surprise that I'll be talking about this movie again. And I still stand by that it's gotta be one of the most classical animated Disney films from the 1950s. And to this day, I can't believe how much Peggy Lee was involved with this movie. Not just with the soundtrack, but also by voicing Peg, Darling, Cy, and Ann. Plus, I still think this movie has a wonderful story, legendary voice acting, and several classical and memorable characters. Also, aside from getting a direct-to-video sequel in the early 2000s, and a cameo as statues in Traverse Town in the Kingdom Hearts games, back in late 2019, when Disney Plus was born, Lady and Tramp received a live-action remake. And of course, it's the subject of my blog today. Released to Disney Plus on November 12, 2019, the movie is Lady and the Tramp 2019. And now, on for the plot of the movie. In this heartwarming, romantic retelling of the 1955 animated classic, Lady, an overachieving, pampered American cocker spaniel house dog, and Tramp, a tough but lovable, fast-talking stray, embark on an unexpected adventure and, despite their differences, grow closer and come to understand the value of home. Now, what are my thoughts? Well, in my honest opinion, it was actually pretty good. Sure, it's not a perfect movie, and it's not better than the original due to childhood reasons, but it's a much better dog movie than 1996's 101 Dalmatians. But now, let's move on to Mustang notes. Now, this version of Lady and the Tramp is one of the first two movies to be released primarily on Disney Plus alongside Noelle. On March 19, 2018, it was announced that the movie was set to be directed by Charlie Bean from a screenplay by Andrew Bujalski, with Brigham Taylor serving as a producer. The production utilized real dogs to portray the film's titular characters, with a dog named Rose portraying Lady, and Tramp portrayed by a rescue dog named Monty. About 3 months prior to the start of filming, the animals started their training for the film. Voice work for the film began in July 2018, with principal photography of the film's live-action, externally filmed portions last from September 10, 2018 to November 18, 2018 in Savannah, Georgia. Locations were set to include Johnson Square, Wright Square, and the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist. Filming on an indoor soundstage took place through December 2018. Now, there are a couple differences in this version that I must talk about. For example, this remake takes place in Georgia, not Connecticut, which to me seems like a very promising story location. The rat has a larger role in this movie compared to the animated classic, as it appears in 3 scenes instead of just 2, and it is stated to have been plaguing Jim Deere and Darling's house for quite some time, and in my eyes, this fact gives the rat some character buildup and development. Also, unlike the original film, the rat's corpse is physically seen. Ugh. Also in this version, Lady and Tramp do not visit the zoo or meet a beaver. Instead, a beaver statue is used to remove her muzzle. Lastly to mention, instead of a baby boy named Jim Jr., Jim Deere and Darling's baby in this version is a beautiful baby girl named Lulu. Also, I like that this version features a new scene where Lady and Tramp are on a riverboat together, which kind of makes me think back to summer 1998 when I went on one in Louisiana with my family. And while they spend time together, I like that Lady and Tramp don't chase any chickens in this version. Plus, I like that this film features several songs from the original, like Peace on Earth, La La Lu, He's a Tramp, and of course my favorite, Bella Notte. Yes friends, no matter what version, this will always be one of my favorite Disney love songs due to my Italian lineage. However, there is one song that's been altered in this version. Now, I'm sure you folks remember Cyan Am's song, don't ya? Well, in this version, due to both its modern day perceived racist connotations and to fit the characters' depictions in the movie, the song was reworked as a blues song titled What a Shame, and the cats are renamed to Devin and Rex. Now, I understand the main reason why the filmmakers altered it in order to avoid controversy, and I do think this song has a pretty upbeat, jazzy melody to it, but at the same time, for childhood reasons, I don't think it tops my feelings for the Siamese cat song. And now, let's move on to the film's cast. Our main character, Lady, is voiced by Tessa Thompson, who is best known for being Valkyrie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. To me, I like that Lady is a beautiful American Cocker Spaniel. However, in this version, while she maintains her kind and curious attitude from the original, Lady is a bit more cocky in attitude, and she tends to bare her teeth a bit more. Plus, she has somewhat of a prejudice towards street dogs. Also, I like that she's still loyal to her owners, and I like that she tried to help Tramp before getting captured by Elliot the dog catcher. Also, I like that she's more forgiving when Tramp returns to apologize after she was bailed from the pound. Next is Tramp, voiced by Justin Theroux, whom was a writer on Tropic Thunder, Rock of Ages, and Iron Man 2, and he cameoed in films like Star Wars Episode 8 and Joker. To me, like his animated counterpart, Tramp is a wisecracking, laid-back, street-smart mud who enjoys his rapscallion lifestyle without a family and home, and he knows how to avoid and outsmart the dog catchers and deal with junkyard dogs, and he helps rescue captured strays like Peg and Bull from the dog catcher's wagon. However, in this version, Tramp can also be very generous, like when he gives a sandwich to 2 stray puppies. He doesn't seem to have any past relationships with other female dogs, and I like that Tramp doesn't call Lady Pidge in this version, and he only calls her by her real name, which I find is very considerate of him, and very polite too. Plus, I think Tramp's backstory on when he was abandoned once his family got a child was actually very sad. And the scene where Tramp apologizes to Lady and admits that he's worth nothing made me feel sympathy for him. Next we come to Lady's closest friends and neighbors, Jock and Trusty, voiced by Ashley Jensen and Sam Elliott. To me, these two are mostly similar, but slightly different compared to their animated counterparts. Yes, Trusty is still an elderly bloodhound who used to be a service dog who once worked alongside his grandfather, Old Reliable, and Jock is still a feisty Scottish Terrier. However, like Ka in the 2016 Jungle Book remake and Scuttle in the upcoming Little Mermaid remake this coming May, Jock appears as a female in this version. Oh, and speaking of which, because of that little change, her owner calls her Jockeline, which to me is a pretty clever idea. And like in the original, after meeting Tramp, both Jock and Trusty suggest to Lady that she keeps her distance from him, not just to protect her, but due to them thinking that Tramp is a nuisance. And I like that they help rescue Tramp from the dog catcher after overhearing that he saved baby Lulu by killing a rat. These are Peg and Bull, voiced by Janelle Monáe and Benedict Wong. To me, these two strays seem to be the only characters in this remake who haven't changed too much. And I like that they tell Lady about Tramp's self-serving nature. Plus, I think Janelle's cover of He's a Tramp is really catchy, and I think her voice is really jazzy and spirited. In other words, she kills it. And I think Peggy Lee would be very proud of her. Also to note, while we never know what their fate is in the original film after the dog pound scene, in this version, both Peg and Bull are later revealed to be adopted by other humans. Next we have Aunt Sarah's cats, Devin and Rex, voiced by Nate Rocket Wonder and Roman Gianarthur. Now, as I stated earlier, like Cyan, these two really don't add much, but you can't help but laugh at how over the top they are with their song number, which, again, doesn't change my feelings for the Siamese cat song. However, unlike Cyan, Devin and Rex are a lot more destructive and menacing. Why do I think so? Well, you see, while Cyan did unintentionally destroy furniture in the original while they were trying to eat a canary and a goldfish and get a drink of milk, in the remake, Devin and Rex intentionally destroy the house while pinning the blame on Lady for the damages. Next we have Lady's owners, Jim Deere and Darling, played by Thomas Mann and Kiersey Clemens. To me, Jim and Darling are very loving and caring people, and I like that they're dog lovers. Also, in this version, I like that Jim and Darling are the ones who rescue Lady from the dog pound instead of Aunt Sarah. And I like that they both, along with their baby Lulu, follow the dog catcher's wagon so they can rescue Tramp. Not only to ensure that he doesn't end up at the pound, but also as gratitude for saving their baby. Next is Aunt Sarah, played by Yvette Nicole Brown, whom was in Elena of Avalor, Disenchanted, the DC League of Super Pets, and Percy Jackson's Sea of Monsters. In this version, Sarah's portrayal is a lot more closer to the earlier drafts of the original movie. Plus, she's also Darling's aunt, and she has antagonistic feeling towards Jim. Much to her surprise, she's also hired to babysit Lady while Jim and Darling take Lulu on a trip to see a certain relative. Thankfully, after they pick Lady up from the pound and return home, they both tell Aunt Sarah how very unsatisfied they were with how she took care of Lady, and she's sent packing immediately. Lastly, Sarah is also not redeemed at the end, and she still shows a huge dislike for Lady and dogs in general. Also to note, I thought it was bad enough when Sarah had Lady muzzled, but it became worse when Lady loses her collar and license in the process. Finally, we come to the movie's main antagonist, the dog catcher Elliot, played by Adrian Martinez, whom I remember from The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, Office Christmas Party, Once Upon a Time in Venice, and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, unlike his animated counterpart, Elliot takes his job very seriously, and he considers Tramp to be his arch nemesis. Whenever he describes him to the others, in an effort to keep a lookout for him, he always mentions him as being vicious and having teeth like a shark, which always confuses them. Other members of the cast include F. Murray Abraham as Tony, Arturo Castro as Joe, Ken Jeong as the Doctor, and Clancy Brown as a street dog named Isaac. And now on to my final words. Overall, the 2019 remake of Lady and the Tramp is a pretty good movie, but like I said, it doesn't really top my feelings for the animated classic due to childhood reasons. Sure, it has great cinematography. The dogs in this film, whether being real or CGI, are portrayed very well. The acting from the live actors to the voice actors do a pretty good job. The songs are equally as classical as they were back in 1955, except one. It has several moments that feel very nostalgic, as well as a few good changes and alterations. Now, I could recommend you folks to watch this movie, but I think it's best that you watch the original animated version first before doing so, and then decide if you want to watch it. Plus, this is a remake that I would definitely share if I ever had kids of my own in my future. And I do pray that it gets a home media release really soon. As for my rating, I'll give it an 89% out of 100. And I bet you guys are asking, when am I gonna blog the 2002 animated sequel, Lady and the Tramp 2 Scamp's Adventure? Well, I might want to wait until July to blog it. Anyway, that's all for now. Be sure to join me for my next blog, where I look at a jungle movie in the world of Pokemon. Mustang Power.